Hi, I'm Shandi, and what do you get when you cross a cell phone with a skunk? You get stinky service.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Kylee, and stop telephoning me.
Hey. Hi, I'm Craig, and is this Gary Sudbrink? And this is Seance with My Siblings, Phone Calls from Beyond edition.
Welcome to the Seance.
Ooh. Yes. We have some wild stories for you today, and we also have some wild personal stories to share. So, how how many weeks ago was it when this happened? It was like
It was
3 weeks ago.
3?
3 weeks
3
ago.
weeks ago. 3 weeks ago, yeah. It was a while ago.
But we were all over at Shandy's house, just partying it up, having fun, just chilling. And we decided to go down to the basement and have a dowsing rod session. We've talked about dowsing rods before, like people know what they are.
Yes.
Or maybe we can
They're
explain it.
the things that you hold in your hands, and they're usually copper, and you can ask like yes or no questions, and they'll move one way or the other.
Yes.
Yeah, but we all went down there to the room that is going to be for recording eventually because it is very haunted. And Shandy has had many experiences and from that room. Did you talked about the most recent or the one before this one of just like experience like the remote being thrown?
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked
Oh,
about that one.
that's
That's one of
Luke.
them.
That was Luke. Yeah,
That was Luke
that
who
happened to
experienced
him.
that one.
Then I think we've talked about
And
when me and Kylie were trying to clean it up, and
mhm,
the entity in there was throwing a temper tantrum, and we had to put our foot down and be like, no, we're not little
mhm.
8-year-old boys. You can't scare us out of here.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's super active, but anyway, we were all down there. Kylie started off with the dowsing rods.
We were just asking the basic questions that you start with. Show us yes or no. So, yes, I think was when it would open all the way
Mhm.
wide, and no was when it would cross. And then we asked, is there anyone down here with us? And we got a yes. And then we asked, are there multiple someone's down here? And we got another yes. And then, oh, we had, besides the dowsing rods, we had the ghost bell down there with us. The dead bell, yeah, not the ghost bell. Whoops. We had the dead bell and the dowsing
And
rods. And, oh, were you going to say something?
sorry. Oh, I was just gonna say, and for the first time ever, the dead bell worked. Like it's never been
Mhm.
used before by an entity when I've been ghost hunting. I don't hunt ghosts. When I've like had it on, nothing has ever wanted
Trying
to
to
Yeah.
see
scare
if
me
we could
away
get
until that, and it
anyone.
actually dinged the bell.
Mhm.
It was wild.
Yes, it was wild. We were getting a lot of like responses, and we eventually wound up getting a second set of dowsing rods.
Mhm.
And so Craig and I were both holding a set of dowsing rods, and the dowsing rods were answering in
The
the
same
same way
way.
to the questions that we were asking, which
Right.
was
And you guys were like
super
across the
wild.
room from each other.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I was in like one corner of the room, Craig was in like the opposite other corner.
And we eventually asked um if we were talking to Samantha.
We
So we
thought.
thought, yes.
Right.
And eventually we asked if Samantha was also the like other entity that we couldn't quite like place. It was kind of just there always? And it responded yes.
So, yeah, both of the dowsing rods went yes, and that's when the dead bell was like, "Brrr!"
Yeah, it has like
And the dead bell also has like the EMF detector, like the lights. So not
Yeah.
only does it ding, but the lights will go off if anything gets into the electromagnetic field around it.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
it was
and
wild.
and
it
the
all just like went at once, just
yeah,
like
everything.
so intense energy. It just like brrr.
And the filling in the room when that was happening, it was like you could feel something was going on. But up until that point, yeah, we had believed that we were talking with Samantha, but it turns out Samantha and the entity that has always been on that land that Shandy's house is now on are one and the same.
Right. It's kind of like giving trickstery kind of silly shenanigans.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
Because it's
And
not
I
scary.
no. And I almost wonder if, like a lot of entities do, it was pretending to be something that we were more,
Familiar.
that we were more like willing to communicate with, so that we would communicate. Because previously, the experiences that people had had with that entity were more on the spooky side.
Right. It gave off very much like, get out of here, this is my room energy. Like, we've tried to have that room be a playroom for the kids, it's been a movie room. Luke tried to have his bedroom in there, and just no one wants to spend an extended amount of time in that room just because it gives off like the go away, this is my space vibes.
Yes.
And it doesn't help that that room isn't heated. Like, for whatever reason,
Yeah.
when this house was built in the 1930s, they didn't run the heat vent to that room. It's so
They're
weird.
like,
And it's a bedroom.
nah.
It has a closet. Like,
Nah.
yeah, and I know the people that built this house had all their kids in the basement. So it's like, did the kid
Oh.
they hated the most have to sleep? Well, and there used to be wood. So, okay,
Okay,
that
no,
is probably
Johnny.
okay. There was a wood burning stove down there at one
Oh yeah.
point, and it
So it
was,
was probably warmer at that with that.
yeah, well, that bedroom shared a wall with the stove.
Oh,
So
That makes
I
sense.
bet it would be way too hot if there was also a furnace heating it
probably.
also.
That makes sense.
That does make a lot of sense, actually.
Yeah. So now
Yeah.
that I think about it and use logic and reasoning,
They weren't just being savages.
They weren't being
they
mean
weren't
to
just
little
being
Johnny.
assholes to their children. They were like,
Yeah.
hey, this room shares a wall with our heat source, so. And I don't
Yeah.
even know when this house was built if they would have even had, they wouldn't have had like a heater. It would have been all wood heat, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Marilyn is going to be with us.
Hi,
Oh.
Marilyn.
And I'm recording
We've
from
got-
home because I'm sick and my ear is plugged, so I'm probably going to be messing with it this whole time. So sorry about it.
Aw,
We've got all the petses today.
all the pets.
Yes.
Yes.
Anyway, so what else happened? Let's see. The dead bell was really cool, and just
The dead bell was
housing
really
rods
cool.
at the same time across the room from each other, held by two different people. That was really cool.
That was really
was.
cool. And that it was like almost in sync. Like the way that when they would move, it was like synchronized, which was bananas. And that
The pendulum.
everything. Oh, we asked some questions with the pendulum.
Trying to get clarification.
Yes.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
fun. And it was
That was
all
fun.
spurred by Luke is like, can we get together and do witchy stuff?
Yes.
Our little witchling Lucas.
Period.
He's my only kid that's into it. The other two are like, when you have a Halloween mom, it's just not very fun. It's just normal.
It's funny.
Yeah. Any other
Yeah.
ghost updates?
My house has been pretty quiet, just the normal residual door slammings when no one is slamming any doors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
You guys had a wild last night, though.
We did have a
Yes.
wild last night. We were doing some last minute research for this today, and we had Mouse and Shadow over here. Mouse is a dog.
Not a mouse.
And
Mouse
we
is a dog.
they kept looking up the hallway, like at the same time.
And that's
And
where there's always something there.
Yeah, there's something that like lingers there. It's not a bad something. It just is something that like is. It's oh, I haven't freaking told you guys.
Ooh.
Okay. The other day. Let me finish the other story and then we'll get to that. Actually, my ADHD, we're going off on the rails. So yeah, we were all sitting in here. We all look over, and it is whatever that thing is that stands in the hallway. Okay, and then just the other day, this was like 3 or 4 days ago, I was sitting at my kitchen table, and there's like a island that's also a sink, like in the middle of the kitchen. And I hear it sounds like someone is walking in circles around the island.
Ooh.
And I was like, oh, and I like stopped and I was like, and I even went out to like look and see if there was anything that could be interfering. And when I came back in, like the circling sound had stopped.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Just kind of bopping around.
Just like slow, like they weren't like in a hurry or anything, just like slow footsteps.
I love that. That's fun. I wonder
Yeah.
who it is.
I don't know. There's been someone hanging out here. It's
Which
probably
is so
Dave.
interesting.
Dave. Hi, I'm
It's
Dave.
probably Dave. Hi, Dave.
Hi, Dave.
Any apartment updates, Craig?
Just the usual. The lights flickering when the lights aren't actually turning on and off, or sometimes they will be on and off. And just kind of turn off while I'm taking a shower. And just like
That's
the
so rude.
footsteps down the hall. Yeah, it is. It's like, okay, thanks. And that bathroom is just dark, like obviously no windows. Yeah. So
That's really rude. I would be.
it is. I have some sage spray that I need to get out again. It's not like bad though. Maybe I'll just yell at it next time it does
feels
it.
more like you just need to have a talk and be like, don't turn
Yeah.
the lights off on me when I'm showering. Like, that's cool. Let me know you're here. Just not like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, just not like
can,
that.
You can flick on the light switch without turning off the light and just do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's about
Just
it.
set clear boundaries with your apartment ghost.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
guys.
We're so haunted.
Literally so haunted. What the fuck?
You know, I would.
All right, Craig. Oh, sorry. What were you
Yeah.
gonna say?
I was just gonna say, but it's been like our whole lives. It's not new. It's just now I feel like I'm not scared of it anymore. So it's like,
It's like this is just a thing that has always happened.
Yeah.
this is just my
And they're
life.
vibing.
This is
It
fine.
is what it is.
Vibing with the ghosties. Ooh, your microphone's pretty and black.
Your microphone is pretty in black.
Pop off.
Thanks. I bought it on eBay
Hell yeah.
from a small
All right.
independent.
Okay.
Anyway,
Yes.
support small businesses. Are we ready to get into?
Let's do this, Craig. Tell us about your topic.
Ooh. So, today I have a doozy of a story for you guys. This story takes place February 8th, 1993. A man named Gary Sudbrink was on leave from the U.S. Air Force in San Antonio, Texas. Gary was staying with his parents in Long Island, New York. He had booked a flight under a guise because he hadn't notified his commanders that he was leaving the base, which would have cost him to use some of his leave. Pop off. Same. Instead, he was taking a long weekend at his parents' home. That night, which was a Monday, he had decided to call his old friend Mike. He wanted to make friends, or he wanted to meet up and rehash old times while he was in Long Island, and this is where things get a little odd. When Gary called Mike and told him he wanted to get together, Mike informed him that he had already spoken to Gary and had called Mike Sunday, the day before. This, of course, struck Gary as odd, because he had not, in fact, called Mike on the 7th. This other Gary told Mike that he had flown into LaGuardia, the airport, and had been recently ill. Or into LaGuardia, not an airport, my bad, sorry. And had been recently ill. The real Gary corrected Mike and said he had actually landed at JFK and had not been sick. They spent some time discussing this. Mike insisted the conversation had happened and Gary explained it had not. At around 10:30, another call came in on Gary's parents' phone line. This would be the first of what would be known as the Sudbrink phone calls. So, I have a transcript of the phone calls, and you can look up the Gary Sudbrink phone calls, and the voice that they're talking to that comes through, it's a very low, kind of raspy, growly
It sounds
voice.
mean.
It sounds like, it does sound mean, but it's just like super, it's also like kind of reserved and sometimes will like pull back and like have that like shy-esque
like
feeling.
a monotone almost. It's weird. It's unsettling.
It sounds like it's trying to sound too human, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Marilyn. She's such
Marilyn
a bitch.
Meow Meow.
She's like
Uh-oh.
ruining shit in my closet right now. Like
God.
she does. Anyway.
Naughty.
Yeah. So low, like, yeah, so an entity is like, this is how humans sound.
yeah.
Or something. Is, yes. Okay, so Gary answered expecting maybe Mike again, but instead he heard an odd, deep, slow voice. The following is a transcript taken from Normal Paranormal. Note, both of Gary's parents can be heard in the background. Gary. I'll tell you who it is. Probably assuming it's Mike. Voice. Hello? Gary. Yeah, do you want to speak to him? Voice. Is Gary Sudbrink there? Gary. Yeah, who's this? Steven? Are you playing games with me or what? Gary. Huh, Steven, if you're playing games here, I'm going to kick your ass. Voice. So, how long are you going to be back from Texas? Gary. Huh? Voice. You're being impersonated by the other voice. Gary. Yeah, this is you, Steven, you idiot. You're pissing me off, jerk. I'm gonna get you... I'm gonna get on you. Let's see what it says. Review one new call out of area. So they're kind of like trying to see if they can see where the call's coming from. In the review setting, it's out of the area. Is Steven out of the area? Voice interrupts. How long are you going to be back from Texas? Gary. Wait, say that again? Voice. You're being impersonated by the other voice. Gary. Wait, hold on. Is Steven out of the calling area or what? Mom. How do I know? Gary. What do you mean? You don't know. He's in Queens. Dad. Well, who are you talking to? Gary. I don't know who the F I'm talking to. Voice interrupts. Hello? Mom. Hello? Voice. Is Gary Sudbrink there? Mom. Who is this? Gary in background. Let me talk to him. Mom. Somebody sounds like a robot. Gary. Hello? Voice. How long are you going to be back from Texas? Gary. What was that again, sir? Voice. You're being impersonated by the other voice. So it sounds like the voice is really repeating the same couple lines so far. Gary to family. Oh, be quiet. Else, eh? Sorry, will you say that again? Gary. Hello? I'm being impersonated by what voice? Voice. Hello? Gary. Yeah, hello. Voice. Is Gary Sudbrink there? Gary. Yeah, hold on a second. Mom. Who is that? Gary, it's Steven, okay? Yeah, what is your question? I'll answer it. Dad in background. A strange voice? Voice. So how long are you going to be back from Texas? Gary, how long? Voice interrupts. You're being impersonated by the other voice. Gary, right. When am I coming back? Is that your question? Voice quieter, in a voice but quieter. Sudbrink there. Dad in background. What's the matter with you? Gary. Okay, there was a break. Hold on. You want to know when I'm coming back to Texas? Is that your question? Voice. So how long are you going to be back from Texas? Gary. How long am I going to be back from Texas? Voice interrupts. You're being impersonated by the other voice. Gary talking over top. That question doesn't even make any sense. Gary. Okay, I'll be coming back eventually. I can't tell you when. You should know that question. The answer to the question because you seem to know more about me than I do. You know what I'm saying? Dad. Are you a intergalactic, person? Gary. Are you a space alien? Dad. Dad. Sounds like he hung up. He didn't hang up. Gary. I can't believe this. Dad. He hung up, Gary. Gary. See if he comes back. Dad. Alright, I'll hang up. Dial tone. Gary. Jesus Christ. Oh my god, man. I'm calling Mike back. 2 beeps on the dial pad. So that was call number 1. What do you guys think about call number 1?
It's weird.
And
It's
we're
very-
sure this isn't just one of his friends fucking with him?
That's what he...
That's what he initially
he's
does
thinking
think. He
right
thinks
now.
it's
Okay.
he thinks it's Steven,
Which is his brother.
which is his brother. He thinks Steven's fucking with him, and he's like, Dad, come on, it's Steven. And the dads, they're both kind of getting questionable about it, though. So, call number 2. A few minutes after the first call hung up, Gary received another call. The following is the transcript. Also courtesy of Paranormal. Gary, what is your question? Unidentified beep from telephone or answering machine. Gary, yes, speaking. Voice, is this Gary Sudbrink? Gary, yes. Could I answer any questions for you? Voice, are you back from Texas? Gary, I'm not back yet, no. Voice, how long are you going to be back from Texas? Gary, let me answer. First you tell me, where are you calling from? Voice, is this Gary Sudbrink? Gary, yeah, why don't you tell me where you're calling from? Voice, is this Gary? What do you mean who... Oh, voice, who is this? Gary, what do you mean who is this? You should know who this is. It's me, Gary. Wait, let me ask you this question. Where are you calling from? Okay, I'll be back. Voice interrupts. Keep an eye on the skies. Gary, excuse me? Voice, near Orion. Gary, I can't hear too well. Voice, the full moon. Yeah, Gary. Yeah, there's a full moon out. That's true. And then there's sound of someone hanging up on the other line. Gary, could you identify yourself? So, it's probably... Or, wait. Just kidding. Sorry. I thought it was, because maybe the dad had the other phone because it's a landline and he, hung up, is what that was, maybe, the sound of the other phone being... Oh! Sorry, I read that wrong. I apologize. Sound of other phone being picked up.
Oh,
Is what I meant
it
to
is
say.
a landline. And
So
they
it
have
is a
multiple
landline.
phones.
The dad
Oh, okay.
grabbed the other phone, in another room or
Okay.
something.
I was
Okay.
thinking cell phones, but okay, landlines.
No,
Okay.
these landlines, yes.
Okay.
I should have clarified,
Sorry,
my
the
bad.
cold medicine I took just hit, and I am not fully here. So.
Oof, okay.
Yeah, this was landlines in what, 2008 it said?
No,
Okay.
or,
Don't lose your spot.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay. I think it was 1993
Oh, 19 something.
or something.
Oh shit.
In 93. Yeah.
I
Okay.
was all young in that. Were you two even
Oh yeah.
born yet?
No, not yet. 99. Wild. All right, Gary. Okay. Okay, hold on. Now who are you? Voice. Keep an eye on the skies. Gary. Keep an eye on the skies, he said. Dad. Keep an eye on the sky? Gary. Yeah. Voice. Orion. Dad. Ask him, can I talk to him? Gary. Shh, shh. Dad. I had a sighting already. Gary. Okay, hold on. Say that. Repeat that again. Gary. Please repeat. Voice. Keep an eye on the skies. Gary. Okay. Voice. Near Orion? Gary. Near Orion? Dad. Holy mackerel! Tonight? Or when is this? Voice interrupts. The full moon. Gary. The full moon? Dad in background. They talk. They hung up. Voice. Show double of you. Dad in background. Keep an eye on the sky near Orion. Gary. Repeat. Dad. Tell him I'd like to talk to him. Gary. Okay, repeat that last word. Static on the telephone line. Gary. I'm hearing static. Dad. Tell him I'd like to talk to him. Sound of caller disconnecting. Gary. He hung up. Dad. He hung up. Gary. Hello? Okay, so that was call number 2. And here call number 3 is... Later that evening at 11:38, Gary received a third call. Transcript, courtesy Normal Paranormal. Gary. Okay, yeah, it's talking time for him to talk. Who is this? Sound of someone picking up the other line. So the dad's on the other line.
The dad is like super invested.
He's super invested. He was like, these are aliens.
I was just
Okay.
gonna say, we're talking to aliens.
We're talking to aliens. Gary. Steven, this is not funny, you know. Voice, barely audible. Who is this? Dad. Brian, it's not Steven. Gary. What do you mean, Brian? Dad. I mean, Gary. Gary. How do I know it's not Steven? Dad. It's not Steven. Dad. Hello, I had a UFO experience in West Virginia, which you probably know, and I know that you're an intergalactic person. Voice. Very low, unintelligible, possibly. Who is this? Dad. Can you speak a little louder, sir? Can you speak a little louder? Voice. Even lower and unintelligible. So it seems like this voice is not really messing with the dad. Doesn't want to talk with the dad, so it's getting like lower, unintelligible, static. Yeah.
He only has eyes and ears for Gary.
Yeah, he only cares about Gary. Dad. Louder? Gary. Okay, let me speak to him. Dad. I guess I don't know. Dad. Okay, I'll hang up so you can talk to him. He wants to talk to you. Gary. Okay. Sound of the other line hanging up. Gary. Hello, can I help you? Voice. Louder than before. Hello? Gary. Yes. Voice. Is Gary Sudbrink there? Gary. Yes, that's me. Voice fainting again. Here is Gary Sudbrink. Gary. Yes, could you please identify yourself? Gary. Identify? Voice faint interruption. Are you back from Texas? Gary. Yeah, I'm back. I'm in Texas right now. Sound of Gary's dad in the background saying like, don't lie to him, like, you know, don't lie to the intergalactic person. Okay. Voice, very low, unintelligible, possibly. How long are you? Gary. No, I'm not in New York right now. You know that. Why are you asking me such a question? Dad in background, assuming he's going to call back 3 times in a row. What are you going to do? Voice. Is this Gary Sudbrink? Gary. Yes. Steven, if this is you, I swear to God, I'm gonna be pissed. Sound of Gary's dad in the background. Voice. Who is this? Gary. Huh? Static on the line. Dad in background. It's not Steven. Gary. I'm trying to listen to him. Excuse me? Dad in background. You keep playing games with Steven and it's not Steven. Mom in background. Well, shut the hell up. Intense static on the line. Gary. Okay, eventually I'll be back from Texas. Could you speak more? Please speak more. Intense static on the line. Voice barely audible. Eyes on the skies. Gary. I guess it's not Steven. I believe it because I'm getting static. Dad. Steven could not leave 3 times. Dad. Steven could not leave 3 times, Gary. Let me go on this phone because I could never hear on this phone. Hold on. So he's switching to the phone that the dad was on because it had better sound. Sound of the other telephone line picked up, followed by a quick beep. Gary. Okay, please speak. Hello? Voice, louder than before, but still soft. Keep an eye on the skies. Sound of writing or scratching, followed by another quick beep. Gary. Okay, should I go out right now? Voice interrupts. Orion. Gary. Right now? Voice. The full moon. Gary. Okay, see, I'm not sure where Orion is now, but we'll go outside. Voice. Show double from you. Gary. It will show double from me? Static on the line. Gary. Repeat that again? Static on the line. Caller hangs up. Gary hangs up. So that was the 3rd call. This is the 4th call, the last call of this events that took place. Call number 4. It seems that after the 3rd call, the incident was over. However, the next day at 10:21 p.m., it is interesting that it was around the same time, Gary received a 4th call. Transcript by, of course, the paranormal. Voice. With more reverb and echo. Is Gary Sudbrink there? Gary. Yes, this is me. Can I ask why? Voice. Is Gary Sudbrink there? Gary. Yes. Can I ask why you're calling? Static on the line. Gary. Can I please ask? Voice. Is this Gary Sudbrink? Gary. Yes, this is. Voice. Gary Sudbrink? Gary. Yes, this is me. Static on the line. Voice. We came to be within this planet. Gary. Say that again? Voice. In this planet. Gary. Leave? Unknown sounds in the background. Voice. We come. Gary. I'm standing right here. Voice. To be within this planet. Gary. Is this a joke or what? A whirring sound on the line. Voice. To visit the mini, to be contacted as the same with you. Sound of door being shut in the background. Gary. Static and whirring sound on the line. Gary. I have to think about that. I'd like to see you. Voice interrupts. To visit the many, to be contacted as the same with you. Uncle. Hey, let me tell you something. I've been listening to you and I've had contacts with you. Voice. Beware government interference. Gary. Government interference? Static on the line. Voice faint. You. Gary. You have? Please explain that type of interference. Whirring sound on the line. Voice. Beware. Gary. Okay. Voice. Government interference. Visitations to be disrupted by them. Strange unidentified sound on the line. Voice. Unintelligible and faint. Appears. The sun will rise on. Dark side of moon. World. No. Uncle. The sun will rise. Voice. Unintelligible. Uncle. On the dark side of the moon? Gary. Okay, Voice. Very low, unintelligible. Maybe. On the moon. Gary. What branch of the government? Intense static on the line. Voice. Very low. Show double from you. Intense static on the line. Gary. What should I do? Intense static on the line. Voice. Beware government interference, visitations to be disrupted by them. Gary. Okay, is that good for me or bad? Caller disconnects the call. Gary. They hung up. Dad in background. So did you get Uncle? Yes, and that's the end of that transcript.
The dad and the uncle are wild.
They're like, into the alien
They're so into it.
yes, conspiracy. Some may think, or what are your guys' thoughts on those phone calls?
I don't know.
They're very interesting.
And so, I don't know. So this is back in like 1993, and I'm guessing there's like no way to trace where this is coming from.
Just on like the recorded like audio
Right.
of that.
Yeah. It feels like someone's just fucking with him.
It really does, but I have more context.
Yes, there's.
Someone
But
who
wait,
I
there's
don't know.
more.
But wait, there's more.
But wait. Okay. Some may think that the phone calls were the start of the strangeness. However, there were other incidents which took place before Gary Sudbrink even left Texas. Back in 1992, Stephen Sudbrink, Gary's brother, was driving to Long Island. He was going to his wedding. While driving along the road, he noticed a car speeding up behind him. His confusion turned to relief when he realized it was Gary's car. Stephen smiled at Gary as Stephen pulled behind him. Gary then began to make faces at him while driving along and then accelerated and sped ahead. So it was just like pulling these goofy faces, like acting super abnormal and weird, and speeding up in front of him in that car. Gary was confused when he was told about what had happened. He had no recollection of the events Stephen was recalling. This made Stephen perturbed, assuming Gary was still playing a joke. Gary was adamant that he had never done anything of the sort. And we also remember that at the very beginning, Mike had received a phone call from Gary and said he landed somewhere where he didn't, and from Gary, yeah, and it wasn't. And Gary had debunked that by saying he landed at another airport and was not sick. You see, Gary had flown in the day before. He had never even seen Stephen on the road. The two different, but let it go. The two differed, but let it go. In 1993, the year of the calls, a man approached Gary at the airport in Texas. So, when Gary was at the airport, a man with a clipboard approached him and was asking him, like, personal questions. He assumed it was just, like, a businessman, like, doing a survey. He asked him what his name was, where he was going, where he was from. And Gary thought it was, like, kind of weird, and his gate was called, so he didn't answer and boarded the plane. Also, when he got on the plane, a different man, still in, like, black suit, approached him and sat by him in the seat right next to Gary. And he asked the same questions, like, who are you? What's your full name? Where are you coming from? Where are you going? And Gary did not answer. He was, like, freaked out by this. And the flight attendant came over and said, okay, like, this isn't your seat, sir. Like, maybe go to your seat. And he just went to the seat, by the, what's it called? Like, airplane emergency door. Like, which was, I'm assuming, like, behind Gary or something, and, like, kept trying to press him on these questions. And then the flight attendant then said, okay, like, go to your seat. Like, that's not your seat. Because, okay, yeah. So there's that strangeness. And there's also another thing that happened in 1993. Gary worked on the Air Force Base in San Antonio in a pharmacy in February. He noticed he would have several days off in a row. Despite base procedures, he decided to take leave and go see his parents without informing his commander officer, as he didn't want to use his leave time. The evening of the day he had decided to go home, he was packing and getting ready for the trip. He heard a noise outside and went out on the balcony to see what happened. There, just outside, hovering 20 feet off the ground, was a helicopter. Gary went to get his glasses to get more details of the aircraft, but it ascended shortly after he witnessed it. So, yeah, those are the
Also
strange
weird.
occurrences that happened like a year before. First off with the wedding and the person who was impersonating him, and then at the airport with the people asking questions and being persistent, all dressed in black, kind of. I saw some things where it's
Men
like
in
maybe
Black.
Men in Black. Yep, maybe Men in Black.
Didn't it say too that like when Gary deboarded, is that when he got off the plane, he didn't see that man that had been
Yeah,
like asking him all those questions.
yeah. When he did leave the plane, there was no sight of the men who asked him those questions. So there's
It's
that.
almost like Gary had an intergalactic doppelganger that the government was onto. So they were
Ooh,
trying to
Yeah.
see, like, is this Gary who works for us, or is this Gary's doppelganger who is an intergalactic traveler?
yes, I absolutely agree. It's just like such a wild story. I have sources, the
That's it?
goaltimes.com.
It's just
Oh,
done?
yeah, no, that was it. Yeah. The phone calls were done, but and then and also he doesn't try to publicize himself with this or anything. Like he doesn't really like to talk about it.
Right, he's not
Um
like on going on talk
he's
shows
not
and
trying to
having
like make
a
money off of it.
podcast,
Yeah.
and he
Yeah,
was on Oprah.
he doesn't enjoy talking about it. Yeah.
Probably I
I
would
see
be
I
why.
freaked out.
yeah, it's like weird as hell.
Yeah, because he has
Um
a doppelganger that's like messing around with his family,
uh-huh.
And his friend, yeah, just
and
calling people and
and that
And like
yeah, the government
aliens
seemed
calling
to be
him.
after.
Oh yeah.
weird.
Weird Men in Black, alien, doppelganger, phone calls, unexplained phone calls, super creepy. Okay,
No
so
thanks. I'm not. I
no,
don't
thank
want it.
you. Absolutely not. I don't claim that energy.
Ghosts all day long, but intergalactic doppelganger, no thanks.
No, no thanks.
No thanks.
All right, so my sources: thegoldtimes.com/blog and Mystical Times blog and normalparanormal.org. Creepy calls from a strange entity.
Ooh.
And that's all I have on Gary Sudbrink.
Stop it.
What are your thoughts on Gary Sudbrink?
Oh,
It's okay. You guys need to go and listen to the phone calls. The recording is so crazy. Like how the intergalactic person sounds on the other line or whatever entity it may be. It just it's this deep growly like voice. It's just so unsettling, so unnerving. I only listened to like a few little snippets and it was just too much. Like it was just so scary. But you can go listen. Don't get
I don't know if I want
abducted.
to. What if, I don't know.
It's a
It's
lot. It's
I
not
want to, but I don't want to.
girl same. It's when I first heard about the story, I did not listen to the phone calls until just doing research. It took me years to listen. So,
Right? You're
yeah.
like, that's creepy. I don't want it.
No thanks. Yeah, I don't want to listen to that, please. It's a deep, strange voice. That's all I need to know. I don't need to actually hear it, thanks. Yeah, it's just weird. I
That's
don't get it.
interesting.
It is.
It's almost like if it would have happened more to the dad and the uncle, they would have been more on top of trying to figure it out and like
And they
poking.
didn't even, or the voice didn't want anything to do with them, really, which is
It's all
even more
about
wild.
Gary.
Yeah,
Gary.
Gary, freaking Gary. Yeah,
Wild.
that is wild. All right.
All right. Ugh.
I'm still afraid of aliens, so that's good.
Thanks, Craig.
Yeah.
Yeah, Craig. Thank you for that.
You're so welcome. Not a ghost, just alien phone calls.
I would take a
Rip.
ghost any day.
Yeah. Same, literally. Same, please God, no. I don't want aliens.
All right, Shandi.
Oh,
Or nor.
okay. I found ghost calls.
Oh, thank God.
Yes. And there's like a really long one, and now I don't know if I want to read all of it. Oh no. Anyway, here we
Do
go.
whatever you want to
Yeah.
do.
Okay. This is from, oh, my hell, cat. Oh, the fur is everywhere.
All the fur.
And she's feral, like you can't, it's hard to brush her. She tries to eat you. It's not a good
Yeah.
time. I don't love it.
Freaking
Anyway,
Marilyn.
okay. So this is from Mandy0217. This is posted on Reddit 5 years ago. All right.
Ooh.
My mom had died in December of 2014, and in the spring of 2015, I got a text message. Text message from her. I was with my friend in the car, and it popped up "Mom" on my phone. And it was one of those inspirational messages in the form of a meme. I'm glad she was there to witness that, her friend. We had disconnected her phone a few weeks after she passed. I tried to call the number and it was not in service. It was very strange. I had that
Ooh.
text on my phone for years until I got a new phone and it was lost.
Oh, wow.
That's wild.
That is.
Isn't that wild? Like, the mom's phone had been disconnected a few weeks after she passed, and this is like a year later.
Oh,
That is so wild.
And
It's
like, why would
quirky.
you have anyone else saved as mom in your phone?
Mm-hmm.
And she even
It's
called it, and it's not in service.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'm not an expert, but as far as I know, numbers that aren't working can't send texts.
Don't work that way.
Yeah. What were you
Yeah.
going to say?
I like that she sent, like, a text in that way, like, to communicate.
Like an inspirational meme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, not scary, not anything.
Just kind of, like, letting her know.
I wonder too if it was easier, like instead of
Oh.
like trying to like type out a whole message, to find just one thing to send that got the whole message across.
Also, versus, like, trying
Smart.
to
Smart.
talk
Work
and
smarter, not harder.
Yes. Also being able to, like, not have to talk and maybe not even be heard. Mm-hmm. Like on the other line.
Right, not having to like call and physically manifest a voice.
Cool.
That was
It's
cool.
so strange what people seem to be able to do from the other side and what some people can and can't do, it seems like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is
I
strange.
don't know how that works because I'm not a ghost yet.
Nope.
Thankfully.
One day we'll know. Yes.
In the future.
In the distant future.
Distant future, I hope.
Yes.
All right. Here's the second ghost phone call from Haunted 115.
Oh, pop off.
Nice.
Same.
Sorry, what?
Oh, we were just laughing.
I was just saying pop off
Oh.
and same.
Oh,
Because like
sorry.
haunted one, like,
Well,
yeah.
medicine,
No, you're
I
good.
am not fully here.
No, it's okay. You're okay.
It's fine. It's good. Okay. I had one phone call during the week after my dad passed in 2006. Mine came up on the caller ID as unknown. I wasn't in the mood to talk to anyone, and I let the answering machine take the call. I'm thinking this is a landline.
Sounds like it.
Anyway, I listened as the message was being recorded. It has to be a landline because you can hear the answering machine answer. For those youngs out there who don't know, when you would call a landline and the answering machine would pick up, you could hear the person leaving a message. So if you were like screening your calls, you could hear the message. So if it was someone you wanted to talk to, you could hurry and pick up. Or you could just listen to the message and call them back later as it was being recorded. Anyway, I listened as the message was being recorded. It was clear as in no static at all. What I heard gave me chills and still does to this day when I think of the event. What I heard was nothing of this earth, and words do not exist to describe the sound. It was music and voices singing without words. Whatever the instruments were, aren't, sorry, there's a comma. Whatever the instruments were, comma, aren't any that exist in our world. As soon as I
Ooh.
heard the music, a picture popped into my mind. The most gorgeous outdoor scene. Thick, lush green grass, trees, and the most beautiful flowers you could ever imagine. Animals everywhere. The music seemed to be emanating from everything I could see. The trees,
Ooh.
flowers, grass, sky, and even the breeze. As soon as the call ended, I quickly picked up the phone to listen to it again, but it didn't record. And the unknown number
Oh.
wasn't on the caller ID.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Yeah. There was plenty of room for it to record. So again, for the youngs, the answering machine recorded onto a cassette tape. And if you don't know what that is, go ahead and Google that shit.
Yes.
It just didn't record. It was so weird, but it sounded so familiar. I truly believe that it was from my dad letting me know that he was okay and safe on the other side. And maybe it was him also admitting that there is more beyond this life. He always said, when you die, that's it. The end.
Ooh.
So Dad was not a believer in any sort of an... Oh no,
Oh,
what is...
we're good. We're
We
good.
see you
Keep
now.
going. We got you back.
Okay. I was like, did my cat touch something? Oh no.
Oh.
Okay. Anyway. Yeah. This big long one, I don't know that I have it in me to
You don't
read
have
the
That's
to.
okay.
story. I'll summarize. Is basically this guy had this high school friend and they were super close, but then they went to separate colleges and kind of like faded away from each other. And then this friend committed suicide. And 3 years after he had died, he started calling his old friends from his cell phone. So, like, they still had his number in their cell phones, and he would call them, and yeah. So that is just wild. And this is
That
in
is
another
That is
country. Like,
wild.
the narrator of the story went to college in Tokyo.
Oh, cool.
And so I'm just like, oh, so this happens everywhere in the world
Oh,
as
yeah.
a phenomenon.
That is pretty. That's wild.
That is.
Yeah, and I thought that was the coolest part of the story, really, is because this is happening everywhere, not just us crazy Americans.
All sorts of people, yeah.
Yeah,
is wild.
it's like when stories happen everywhere, or like the same entities pop up everywhere, and every culture has a story about something that's so similar to
Similar,
somewhere
yeah.
completely across the continent.
Yeah.
Everywhere's just haunted.
Everywhere's haunted.
And entities, spirit, whatever, can use our phones to communicate.
They like those electronics.
Yes.
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 All right, Kai.
All right.
right.
And of course, my tablet has gone to sleep. Okay. This is mysterious call from a body already in a casket from
Ooh.
Reddit user Siren X Song.
Ooh.
So, brief background. I work for a company that answers phones and takes messages for businesses when they're closed, out to lunch, or after hours, etc. We answer
so a
for a
messaging service.
messaging service, exactly.
Okay.
We answer for a variety of companies in different fields, including funeral homes. This situation has happened twice that I have talked to the person on the phone myself. So, the first time it happened, I took the message from this lady whose mother had passed recently. Body was already picked up and dressed at the funeral parlor. Visitation was scheduled for the following day. She calls and is weepy and asks if her mother's phone is still in her jacket pocket because they just got a call from her number. I end up dispatching the call, calling the director to deliver the message verbally, and he says that he'll call her, but the body is in the casket, and the casket is closed, waiting in the parlor. I say, wow, weird, and he just kind of chuckles and says, this kind of thing happens more often than you would think.
Ooh, I bet.
That is
Spooky,
wild.
spooky.
That is.
Okay, and then this next one is phone call from a long deceased aunt from Reddit user SX Haunted. When I was a kid, I picked up the phone with an old lady on the other side asking for my mom by name. When I asked who it was, she said Auntie May. My mom looked shocked and picked up the phone, but she was gone. She was brought up by Auntie May. Only Auntie May had died in 1962.
Oh, wow.
That's so sweet.
That is sweet. All right, and this next one I picked because it was on my birthday, October 1st.
Hell yeah.
Okay, this is by North Coastie on yourghoststories.com. I'm a 30-year-old insurance adjuster who has both law enforcement and military experience. I have always believed in ghosts and have always had an interest in ghost stories, paranormal TV shows, etc. Same! But until recently, I can't say I've had a definitive experience. I was on my way to inspect an insurance claim in a big old Victorian house in Newcastle, Pennsylvania. As part of our protocol, we always call the homeowner when we are about a half hour to make sure they remembered the appointment and they will be ready for us and are at home, etc. I had the home phone number and the cell phone number of our insured for this claim and called the home phone first. A very strange sounding voice answered. I could not tell if this person was a child or a very old woman. It was kind of raspy and high-pitched, odd sounding. Do a Google or YouTube search for Sophie Maslow, former mayor of Pittsburgh, and you'll know exactly what type of voice I'm referring to. There was also a lot of static, and it was just weird. Anyways, this voice on the other end sounded very confused and could barely hear me. We went back and forth with the, hello, can you hear me? Barely, can you hear me? Hello, hello, etc. for about 30 seconds trying to communicate until I gave up. I thought we might have a bad connection, so I hung up and called back. This time the call went into voicemail, which was your standard, you have reached blank 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 robot voicemail. I called the cell phone and I had on file and received that voicemail as well. When I arrived, there was nobody home. I knocked on the door several times, rang the doorbell, stood around for a few minutes, called both phones again, and received voicemail. I started walking back to the car, and as I'm getting in the car, the homeowner shows up. The homeowner is a normal-speaking woman in her mid-30s. She apologized that she missed my calls and told me she was in a hair appointment. I told her that I had spoken to someone at her house on the landline, but we had a hard time understanding each other. She got a very concerned look on her face and tells me, "You must have called the wrong number, because nobody else is home." So, I look at my phone and recite back the number I called, which was, in fact, the correct number. So, we go into her home, and she looks at the caller ID on her landline. Sure enough, my calls showed on the caller ID. There were 2 missed calls for the times when I called and received the voicemail, and there was 1 received call.
Ooh.
Yeah, spooky. At this point, the homeowner breaks down. She tells me, "I've been telling my husband for months now, ever since we moved in, that this place is haunted, and he doesn't believe me." She is so upset, she is shaking and had to leave the house. I explained to her I don't know what happened, and all I know is I called and briefly spoke to someone. She thought maybe I called and got the voicemail and confused that for speaking with someone, but the voicemail clearly was not a strange voice saying, "Hello, can you hear me?" repeatedly.
Yeah.
The caller ID also showed received calls versus missed calls, and the first call from my number was showing as a received call. I asked her if maybe someone had broken into her house and if we should call the police. She did not want to do that, so I checked all the doors and windows, and the house seemed secure. She also has a security system that she had to disarm when we entered, which had not gone off. The kids were at school, her husband was at work, and she claims nobody else would have any reason to go in her house during the day. She even called a few people to confirm nobody had been home. At this point, I'm pretty freaked out.
Period.
Of course, the damage for her insurance claim was in the creepy as hell basement, where I had to go down by myself.
I love it.
That do be how it be.
Nothing else unusual happened, but when I left, the homeowner would still not go into the house by herself, and she told me she was going to her mother's for the rest of the day. She asked me repeatedly if her husband put me up to this, or if I really called the wrong number, or think the lines were crossed. I just wanted to calm her down and told her the lines were probably crossed, but I have no idea if that is even possible. The bottom line is that I called this house and received a strange-sounding person on the other end of the line when nobody was home. The caller ID verified that I called the house at the time and the call was received, but nobody was there. The house was secure with an active security system. Also, what made this strange was that the homeowner stated she had previous reason to believe the house was haunted. I never told her what the person on the other end of the phone sounded like. When I asked her why she thinks the house is haunted, she told me she hears the voice of an old lady talking when no one else is home.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes.
Basically, Ghost just wanted to answer the phone.
Just wanted to answer the phone.
Lonely.
Yeah.
Okay, and then one more. This story is from Jubilee on YourGhostStories.com on September 19th, 2021. We have known our neighbors, Dean and Miriam, for over 15 years. A loving couple in their 70s. They had been together for close to 50 years. Miriam was everybody's sweetheart. A princess, beautiful, generous, and caring. Then came the heartrending news that Miriam had late-stage pancreatic cancer. Miriam fought the cancer for as long and hard as she could. She once told me that it helped to stay mentally positive and strong, mainly for Dean's sake. Rex had regular chats with her, telling her of his own cancer battles, giving her his support. Baking was one of the activities that gave Miriam solace, and she did a storm of baking for everybody during that period. When we were all in pandemic lockdown, she even made a rich chocolate mud cake for my birthday. So sweet.
Oh.
That was so like Miriam, always thinking of others. Another time, Rex and I were surprised with 2 fresh sultana muffins for afternoon tea, and there was the wonderful fruit cake we got for our anniversary. Dean and Miriam decided that they would get married that year, to celebrate their life together and a lovely memory to have and hold. Due to the COVID restrictions, their families in New Zealand could not attend, nor could they invite everyone in our apartment complex. Rex and I were the few guests honored to be there at their wedding. I shall never forget the beautiful glow on the faces of the happy couple. But late one night, 7 months later, Dean rang to tell us that Miriam had fallen in the bathroom while at the hospital for chemo treatment. She had cracked her skull. The following day, while Rex was on the phone telling another neighbor about Miriam's fall, I was suddenly hit by a wave of stabbing pain in my heart. I had tears pouring out uncontrollably. My heart felt shattered, but the grief wasn't coming from me. It was someone else's grief. 2 hours later, Dean told us that Miriam had slipped into a coma. The hospital had moved her into palliative care, and they were no longer administering a drip feed. It was not entirely unexpected, but still heartbreaking. Did I somehow tap into Dean's feelings earlier on, or was that Miriam herself that I had sensed? Rex went out to buy some ready-made meals for Dean. He was on standby to take Dean home from the hospital, so he could get some rest. I was alone at home when the phone rang. There was no caller ID. The display just said private number. I immediately suspected a robocall from some scammer. At the same time, I noticed the distinct scent of perfume. It was a classic musky fragrance, the sort an older woman might prefer. Something familiar. I was sure I had used the same perfume in the past or smelled it on someone. When I picked up the phone, there was no voice on the line, but I knew someone was there. I hung up. The scent lingered. Just a few minutes later, it rang a second time. Again, no caller ID. On the third call, I picked up the phone and asked, "Hello?" A woman or teenage boy answered. "Hello? Hello?" For a second, I had the strangest feeling that it could be Miriam. I asked who it was, where he or she was calling from, but got no answer. Suddenly spooked, I quickly said, "You've got the wrong number." I hung up in a hurry, and the scent was gone.
Ooh.
Miriam never woke up from the coma. The next day, we heard of her passing from Dean. An hour after hearing the sad news, an unknown caller with a private number rang one more time. Rex was ready to grab the phone from me, and as I picked it up, but the call disconnected the moment I said hello. That night, I looked through some photos I had taken of Miriam and Dean at their wedding. Feeling heavy in my heart, a curious thought came to me of the mysterious woman I had seen last year in the basement car park. She had looked a lot like Miriam, similar hair color, hairstyle, height, but was much younger. At the time, the image had seemed distorted to me because the woman was really skeletal thin, but she looked just like Miriam the time I had seen her, when she was going through chemo. A few days later, we met up with Dean for coffee. I asked Dean what had been Miriam's favorite perfume. One of them was Estee Lauder's Beautiful. The moment I went home, I dug out the small bottle of Estee Lauder perfume I still had, which was Beautiful. That was what I had smelled during those phone calls. Miriam's funeral service was simple and lovely. COVID restrictions in New South Wales had just been eased on the number of people who could be in attendance, so more people could attend. It made a difference to be there in person. There were a bunch of beautiful white roses for the casket, sent by the company Miriam used to work for. One of her colleagues and their supervisor gave moving eulogies, which brought tears to many eyes. The priest read the messages from her sisters and niece in New Zealand, since they were not able to be there. Dean's son had problems lighting the tall church candle. It took a few attempts, but they finally realized that the wick was bent. There were a few chuckles, and even the priest had a rueful smile. It was as if someone was being playful, lightening the general mood. After the service, everyone who had been at the wedding ended up joining Dean, his son, and daughter-in-law at the pub across the road from our apartment building. We had a few drinks and lunch, taking comfort in each other's company. While the others went to get their food, there was a brief moment when I was alone with Dean. I took the opportunity to tell him about smelling Miriam's perfume and the fountain calls. Dean then revealed that around the same time, he had a missed call from her mobile phone. He didn't recognize the number and rang it back and left a message. Later, he found yet another missed call, but again, no message left. He still didn't know who it was or if it was just a wrong number. About a fortnight later, Rex picked up a parcel for Dean at the post office and then met him for coffee at the cafe downstairs. The parcel was Miriam's urn. Rex picked a table and set the urn on a spare chair. All of a sudden, Dean was choked up. He showed Rex his phone, with the last photo of Miriam at the same table, same chair, where Rex had put the urn. It was as if Miriam had just sat at the table with them. Rex told Dean that Miriam was probably with him, and Dean agreed. He'd been feeling Miriam's presence around, watching over him. Perhaps these were all coincidences, but when put together in sequence, really strange. Goodbye, Princess Miriam, gone forever, but not forgotten.
Ooh.
Oh, that's
That was
really
sweet.
sweet.
That was sweet.
I love when people can comfort people from the other side and like let them know that they're still there, with them.
Yes.
I agree. That's a lot of like the ghostly phone calls that I hear about. It's a lot of like that comforting.
Yeah, they're like reaching out to let the person know that they're okay.
Right? I love that, like, during the phone call, though, they smelled the perfume, too.
Yeah,
That is cool.
that is cool. An olfactory experience.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, nice.
We've had those.
Hell yeah.
All right. Any
All
other
right.
final thoughts or anything?
My brain is just empty. Sorry.
What would you guys... Oh, sorry.
No, you're okay. Go.
Oh, what would you guys do if you did get a phone call from beyond?
At first, I'd probably think it was a prank unless it was someone that I knew specifically, I guess. Or like it was something that, even if it wasn't someone I knew and it was someone that, like, had been gone for a while or something, it would be interesting. Like, I'd definitely be a little freaked out.
Yeah. With phone calls, it's easy to be, like, suspicious. Like, is this just a prank?
Yeah.
I think
Definitely.
I'd just be confused at first
Yeah.
until it was like over and I could like think about it more and do some digging and think, okay, is someone just fucking with me? How rude? Or is this really something paranormal?
Yeah. That's why it's nice when there's, like, multiple people that have, like, a similar experience at the same time, so you can get that confirmation.
Right, and there's no like evidence that it's just someone pranking you. That is just horrible to
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you prank someone that way, maybe reevaluate your morals.
Yeah.
go have the day you deserve.
Have the day
Have the
you
day
deserve.
Was that all the thoughts for
Yeah,
everyone?
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, geez, Louise.
So
I don't know. I don't have any thoughts in this little brain.
that's okay.
What are a thought?
What our thought?
Oh no, my ears are ringing, and I don't know.
Ooh. Oof.
Like when you have a head cold and your ears have pressure, and it's a good time.
Hell yeah. We did have a couple technical issues and experiences, so if you have any, remember, keep your eyes on the skies.
Ooh.
And let us know if you had any technical issues while listening to this episode.
Yeah. Or if you've had any phone calls from beyond, let us know. Send them to seancewithmysiblings@gmail.com and have them read live on the podcast.
Hell yeah. Or if you don't want it read live, just put that in the subject line.
But please
And
let
we'll
us-
still read it. Yeah. We love
And
those stories.
have
Love
it
them.
and talk about it. And if you send us a story, I will send you a surprise in the mail, the snail mail.
Snail mail.
Snail mail.
You just have to let us know where to send it to. We have socials. Oh, sorry, what were you going to say?
No, I was going to say we have socials because
We
we
sure
have
do.
socials. We have a TikTok at Seance with My Siblings.
We have an Instagram at Seance with My Siblings.
We have a Blue Sky and a Tumblr
And a YouTube.
and a YouTube. And
You can watch
our
us.
cute little faces on YouTube.
Yes, you can see us live. Not live.
And
In
see our
person.
Hi, Marilyn.
Hi, Marilyn.
Yeah, you can see Marilyn.
Yeah, you can see Marilyn.
Oh.
The Himalayan goblin, is that what you call her?
Oh, Himalayan fur goblin.
Himalayan fur goblin. Yes.
Yes. She's completely feral.
Cute.
Like, literally.
Oh.
She was only caught because she fell through my mother-in-law's barn ceiling and there was a live trap in there with food in it. And then they got her spayed and she worked with her to get tame enough to pet, but like it's scary.
Cute.
Danger.
Danger
Danger
beans.
beans.
Murder floof.
Oh, so
We
cute.
have Facebook also.
Oh, we do have a Facebook also.
You can like join our Facebook
Yeah.
group and post funny memes and shit.
Yeah, share your ghost
Ghosts.
stories. And again, if you want them on the podcast, send them to seancewithmysiblings@gmail.com. gmail.com. Oh my gosh. Bye, wave at the microphone.
Wave at the microphone. Bye.
Bye.